It's Cyber Monday, and a record $13.2 billion is expected to be spent, up 6.1% year over year. That's according to Adobe Analytics. And this follows new milestones for online spending on Black Friday as well. Commerce company Shopify seeing its merchants drive a record-breaking $5 billion in Black Friday sales this year. Here with more insights into merchants and that consumer spending is Shopify president Harley Finkelstein. Harley, thanks for being here. So obviously people are out there shopping in force, or at least sitting on their computers and phones shopping in force here. What are some of the biggest differences that you're seeing between this year and last year, or the last several years, in terms of that uptick in spending?
Yeah, it's a great question. Great to be here, Julie. I mean, I think Black Friday was incredible. As you mentioned, we saw a record-breaking $5 billion in sales. But we saw brands like Brunt Workwear, which are averaging, I think, an order every 6 seconds for the entirety of Black Friday. We saw peak sales per minute globally at about $4.6 million per minute at around noon Eastern time on Friday, which was up from about 4.2 million per minute at our peak last year as well. But two things that are different this year. One is it's just a longer season. We've expanded from being, 4 days or 6 days to really, we saw brands like Gymshark, which is historically a famous online brand, build an offline store in New York City for 3 months. They did a 3-month pop-up for the holidays, and we think it'll continue right till Christmas. But the second thing that you're also seeing is that the way that these brands are selling, they're sort of channel agnostic. Obviously, they're selling online, but they're also selling in physical locations. They're using social media. They're creating subscription clubs or creating membership clubs. It really does feel like this is a sort of a new golden age of retail, and it's being powered by these independent brands.
And Harley, what is the average cart price in the U.S., and how does that compare and contrast to what you were seeing last year?
Yeah, it's actually quite remarkable. The average cart price right now is about $154, which is quite similar to last year. So there's not a lot of changes then. But if you look at the trending products right now, Cozy Earth, Brook Linen, Calpac, Lola Blankets, those are brands that we historically have not seen necessarily at the top of the list. You're also seeing an uptick in subscription boxes. Allure is doing one with a curated beauty box. Obviously, BarkBox and ButcherBox are sort of famous for doing these subscription boxes. So cart size is about the same. But again, there does seem to be this real, there's a lot more energy around these consumers buying directly from the brands that they love. And those brands tend to be powered by Shopify.
It's funny, by the way, that you mentioned Gymshark, because my 15-year-old son put that on his list as something that he wanted. It wasn't a brand that I knew of.
Amazing story.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going to be checking it out. You mentioned that a lot of people are now sort of channel agnostic, but I do wonder what is working better, whether it's certain social channels, where are you seeing a lot of the buying happening, or is it mostly people going directly to the websites for these brands?
It's happening everywhere, but I mean, obviously social selling on social networks is a very new thing. Shopify powers social selling on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. And we actually did a survey, and we found that between the ages of 18 and 24, about 57% of buyers told us they're going to buy on Instagram, but 56% told us they would buy on TikTok. And so I think for some brands, social media is really becoming a favored customer engagement strategy for a particular type. But the other thing that's also really interesting is this idea of what we call default global, where brands that historically only sold in one geography are selling globally. Ilia, for example, Ilia Beauty, recently launched in the UK. They've seen 88% growth in the UK. Laura Geller seeing over 100% growth in international markets. So that's another one. But I think the other thing that's really cool is what we're sort of referring to as community-driven commerce, where brands are really rewarding their most loyal fans. BarkBox, for example, actually created a quiz for their consumers. First, answer a bunch of questions about pets and about your pet, and then you sort of get, then you get access to these incredible discounts. But it feels like it's more than just a transaction. It feels like this immersive, gamified experience, and it's making commerce and retail very exciting again. And in fact, you might be able to pull this up, but we actually track global sales on Shopify, and anyone can see this. It's shopify.com/Black Friday. And right now, as we speak, we're seeing about 2.6 million sales per minute, about 21,000 orders per minute happen on Shopify as we speak. So the amount of, there you go, you pulled it up there. I mean, you are now watching millions of stores powered by Shopify all over the world. And what's really interesting is that every now and then you'll see a little bit of you'll see a firework. That firework is a brand new entrepreneur getting their very first sale. So you're seeing big brands like, the Aloes of the world, Alo Yoga of the world, and Viore doing great on Shopify, but you're also seeing brand new entrepreneurs have their first sale on Shopify as well.
Harley, I want to shift gears here a little bit and talk about how you all are kind of moving up market here, right? You're helping big brands sell online. I'm curious, Harley, kind of the traction you're seeing there, one. And two, as you do that, Harley, obviously you come in competition there with Salesforce, with Adobe. What competitive advantage do you bring here?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We are winning in the enterprise quite a bit. I mentioned Allo and Viore, but Skims, On Running, Barnes & Noble, Mattel, these are the brands that have been coming to Shopify over the last year or so. The main thing we're doing is this is a modern retail product. So it's not just online, nor is it just offline. It allows all these brands to create this retail operating system that enables them to sell across every single channel, even channels that didn't exist couple years ago. We now have a Roblox channel for a particular type of merchant that wants to access the Roblox universe. They can use Shopify to sell right into that as well. So what we're trying to do relative to other enterprise e-commerce companies is create sort of the final migration they'll ever need that allows them to sell across every single channel. And it's easy to use. It's incredibly scalable. I mean, that's Supreme behind me. That's the Supreme skateboard. I mean, companies that do these massive flash sales are selecting Shopify, and they're able to do it at this incredible price with great value. And so in the enterprise in particular, we're winning a lot of the best brands on the planet.
Harley, great to see you. Always appreciate your time and insight. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, Josh.